then if you add into that drug abuse and all these other things, I think it very well is true. And I believe I have no reason to question the Lewis's family's recitation of what it was like in that household. That Mr. Lewis's adoptive father was violent and abusive, not only to his wife, but also to that oldest child that was not his. I think you also have to look at beyond the home and the family environment, but think about that this is not 2019 East Side City of Detroit. This is 1976, when you have a black family moving into a predominantly white neighborhood. You have all the struggles of integration of schools. You have all these other factors that are playing, that are coming into play here. That this is an overall, and I think I asked Dr. King about this yesterday, an overall situation of toxicity that erupted and manifested itself in the behaviors that were exhibited by Mr. Lewis. Even though he denies that he committed this particular crime, he admits that he did engage in other antisocial behavior. He did commit robberies. He did get into trouble. He did mislead other young men. And that is all a part, I think, of struggling to define. If you grow up in an environment where you see masculinity being defined through violence, enacted at the hands of your stepfather, and now you are trying to define yourself as a man, how else are you going to do that other than to mirror the behavior that you have exhibited or that you have experienced in your own home? You think that that's what being a man is. Showing how tough you are, showing how strong you are, showing how you can lead people with fear. And I don't want anyone to suggest that I'm excusing any of the things that Mr. Lewis may have done, but my job is to look at how the home, and at this point, the home and the family environment factored into the crime that Mr. Lewis was convicted of committing. And I also want to now look and discuss some of the things that have been talked about in terms of his possibility of rehabilitation. As I've indicated before, the most serious incident of violence that the defendant is alleged or was convicted of committing since he's been incarcerated was in 2004 when he stabbed someone. Him and another inmate were involved in a stabbing. But all of the other inmates, and that's borne out in the documents from the Michigan Department of Corrections, indicate that the victim of that stabbing attacked Mr. Lewis first, and Mr. Lewis was just defending himself. In 1978, when he had only been incarcerated not very long, he assaulted a fellow inmate for refusing to be his boy, and that's in Exhibit 84 of the People's Attachments. I'm not even sure what that's supposed to mean, but that was in there. In 1977, he was disciplined for yelling, "Hey baby," to some females that walked by the ward. That's Exhibit 90. If the most egregious thing that I found in his misconduct is that in 1989, he was placed in a hole and deprived of food and water because he refused to bend and spread his cheeks. Exhibit 46, that's Exhibit 46 of the people's things that they presented. I've never been in prison, and I don't plan to ever go to prison. But I can't begin to imagine the indignities that people who are incarcerated experience. And he refused to bend and spread his cheeks after a visit because he said that, that there were no allegations that he had done anything, that he had any contact, that he had, done anything to warrant to suffer that indignity. I mean, yes, the people in the Department of Corrections have a job to do, and they have to make sure that everyone's safe and that contraband isn't being smuggled and, all these kinds of things occur, but you have someone who is sent to prison at a very young age who's just trying to do what he can to maintain some sort of dignity and humanity. And because he refused to bend and spread his cheeks, he got placed in a hole and was deprived of food and water. And that's one of the 89 misconducts that are held against him. Also there's something else that I want to say about the facts and circumstances of this case. I do think it's very odd. If you look at the testimony of, I think it was Detective Gilbert Hill. We all know that Gil Hill went on to do many other things in the Detroit community, but this is at page 541, Exhibit 91. He said that everyone was brought in except for Charles. That they knew early on that they suspected that Mr. Lewis was involved in this, but for whatever reason they brought everybody in except for Charles, and that they waited until the warrants were secured and the statements had been secured from all those other defendants before he sought to get Mr. Lewis, and that he personally went to pick up Charles Lewis, but that didn't work out, and Mr. Lewis ended up turning in himself or arranging his own surrender. Another thing that I think is of note to me is you look at the home and family